Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's doing good. This video I'm doing now, I wanted to do a long time ago. But I wasn't going to do it until I was able to send a package out to our good friend and subscriber, Eric, also known as Slick Slicers. The reason why I'm saying that is a while back, I don't know if you can see this box here, I got a hold of Eric. I told him I got a new Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow, and can you put me in contact with the guy that makes the leather slips, this one right here, from England. Because I've been carrying my Taylor's Eyewitness in American slips. I know it's not like a big deal, but I wanted a slip that said made in England to go with the English Barlow. Of course, if anyone knows their history, the Barlow was first invented in England, Sheffield, England, I believe. At least that's the story. And no one's been able to prove it or disprove it. But just by the history of traditional pocket knives, with all the knife smiths and master artisans that ended up in America usually came from England. I don't know if you guys know George Schrade of Schrade Cutlery came here immigrated from England back in like 1860 or something, 1840. So, but anyway, that's a little of the history. So I told him, could you get me in contact with the guy that makes these made in England slips? And Eric gets back to me and he says, the guy doesn't make them anymore. I don't know why he would quit making them, but Eric told me the guy just doesn't do it anymore. But he told me he has a couple that are left over and he'll just send them out to me. And wasn't really asking for a freebie, but I wanted the made in England slip. So, and Eric wasn't going to take any money. That's just the way he is. And I don't blame him for that. He's a very nice guy. One of my best friends that I've ever met doing this YouTube channel. And I'll explain some of that when I go through these Taylor Eyewitness Barlows. But he sent me not only one slip, he sent two slips and some of his newest swag, which is the YouTube Slick Slicer sticker. And this is his, which is, I think, probably the best sticker out there. Even better than mine, I like that, because I love this mother of pearl Taylor Eyewitness Barlow, which, by the way, is on my want list. So one day you may see something like this in the Warthog collection. In fact, I guarantee it. But anyway, here's the package that he sent, International Standard. And in there is, as you'll see, Made in England DL. And they're a little more oversized because the Taylor Eyewitness Barlow is probably the biggest Barlow on the market. Yeah, that's safe to say that. The handles are more bulbous. The length, I think, is slightly longer than a typical Barlow. But you could just tell when it's in your hand, it's a bigger knife. So you need a bigger slip. So what's he do? He sends me one made in England DL and then a black one made in England DL. So I sent him out a package. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. Keep an eye on your mailbox, Eric. It might be in Heathrow by now. I know last time I looked, it was at Chicago O'Hare International. So, but anyway, that's that. So now I got something to carry my Taylor Eyewitness Barlows in, and this reddish one works great for my Ambonia Burl Taylor's Eyewitness. And this one fits my hand the best. One thing about Taylor's Eyewitness Barlows is no two are alike because of the way they're worked by Lee White. All mine are made by Lee White. Lee White now has an apprentice that he's teaching the trade to. And if you go to Eric's channel, Slick Slicers, his most recent Taylor Eyewitness was made by the apprentice, and it's pretty damn good. What I like about this one is it's also the snappiest. Quite a bit, not quite a nail breaker, but most of your English pocket knives are a little more springy than the American made. And one of the commenters said that's because they child-proof them. So no kid can open that. No young kid. Young child. So, yeah, let's see what it looks like in there. It's perfect. Love it. Thank you, Eric. It's exactly what I was looking for. Now, the black slip is going to work perfect for my newest Barlow, which is in here. But first, let's do a little history of what I got and how I got there. I first seen a Taylor Eyewitness Barlow on YouTube on Stefan Schalmus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Stefan's, he's had a YouTube channel for quite a while, and that's kind of where I got my taste for a little more exquisite knife, although I still love just a plain basic Barlow. This is a 1961 to 77 Western USA Barlow. And it's Delrin, so it's nothing special, but that's what the Barlow, I mean, that's what the American Barlow first started out as. A very inexpensive workhorse of a knife. That's why the bolster's extended to give more support when you're cutting. So I still almost had it. I'm doing that left-handed. But there's something special about a Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow. And the first one I seen was on Stefan's channel, and it was a Desert Ironwood. But see how my Desert Ironwood is more of a burl? His, the grain, the way the wood was cut, the grain goes more lengthwise. And it was the most gorgeous Barlow I had ever seen until I started looking around, because I wanted to know more about it and see more. And that's when I discovered Slick Slicer. I just put in, I think, Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow for a search, and Slick Slicer came up. Because as you guys know, Slick Slicer has an extreme amount of these Barlows and other patterns from Taylor's Eyewitness, which is a good thing because you can get very good ideas on watching his channel on things you might want to get. Now, the Taylor Eyewitness Barlow is a little bit pricey, but as compared to a GEC, it's right around the same price. And right now, with the exchange rate, with everyone's economy in the world tanking, the exchange rate's pretty beneficial to the American buyer, which means that the British pound has fallen more than the U.S. dollar. Both of them fell a lot. I don't know if you guys have a 401k. I do, and 25% of my wealth has vanished over the last 2 years under this new administration that we have. But that's something for another day. I still keep my 401 intact, and that is my retirement. Right now, I'm living off of a fixed income and some money that I had saved up for my knife. Actually, I saved it up for bucket list stuff. One of them was traveling to the Isle of Man to watch the tourist trophy races, which still is on my list. I've crossed off a bunch of them. I crossed off Paris. I crossed off Rome. I crossed off the UK. But I still want to go to the Isle of Man to watch the tourist trophy. And I want to bring my 87-year-old dad. Wow, we're up to 12 minutes already. So stick with me, guys. This is going to be a long video, but it's going to be worth it. So let's take a look. The first Barlow that I got is on top, and as we work down oldest to newest, and I'll give you guys a quick look at them. This is buffalo horn, ambonia burl, ox horn. These are all users except this one. This one's never cut anything and never been carried. One of my favorite carries. This one has the most pocket time of any pocket knife I have in the house. The Desert Ironwood's been carried and used, and the Stag's been carried and used. But this is the newest. So back, I think, in 2019, when I discovered the Taylor Eyewitness on Stefan's channel, and then went over to Slick Slicers and seen his mother of pearl, which I'm a big fan of. I know there's people out there that don't really like mother of pearl, but I love it. And he had one. I watched his video. That was the first video I ever watched of Slick Slicer, was his mother of pearl Taylor Eyewitness Barlow. So, like I said, I contacted him back, I think it was towards the end of 2019, and asked him how the hell, because I did a whole bunch of looking around myself, Taylor Eyewitness Barlow, but they don't, Taylor's Eyewitness doesn't sell them. They have a few stores that sell their merchandise. One of them is the famous Sheffield shop, and the other one is the Bakewell Cutlery or something it's called. I forgot what the heck it was called. But that's with David. And you get a hold of him, he'll help you out and point you to something that you might want. But anyway, long story short, he gave me information on how to get in touch with Joanne over at the famous Sheffield shop. And I sent an email over there, told her I wanted something in buffalo horn, but I had to wait 8 weeks. So I paid for it. It was just before Christmas of 2019, and I had to wait 8 weeks for it. While I was waiting, I got a big Christmas bonus from my employer. So I contacted Joanne again because I also wanted the Ambonia Burl. And they had those in stock. But the first one, I put the money down for the buffalo horn and then contacted them again and said, yeah, throw, to save on shipping, throw an Ambonia Burl Barlow in the shipment too. But first I asked her if she had any pictures, and she sent some pictures over. And once I seen that, I was sold. So yeah, those were my first two. And can you imagine my excitement when that box came with two Taylor Eyewitness Barlows in it that I wanted so bad for my collection. And that's how I got my first two and my first start. Then one day on eBay, I found this. And I won it in an auction for like $65 shipped to the door. Now it does have some little flashing cracks, which is just like the surface lamination kind of deal. At least that's what Lee White told me, that it's no big deal. But yeah, this one, and then you can see this one's been beat down quite a bit. In fact, I even batoned on it to cut some cables with it. This was my coolest work knife that I had. I love bringing this. It's got the most, like I said, the most pocket time of any knife that I own. So we put that back there. Then later on, I was thinking, well, what does the Bakewell shop have? So I got a hold of David and asked him to send me some pictures of what he's got in desert ironwood. And he had two. This is the one I picked, and he said, smart choice, my friend. That's the one I would have picked. So we ended up getting that for the collection. Then most recently, I wanted the stag. And this is some beautiful stag. And you can see how bulbous it is. Every knife fits in your hand different. But they all come up to this, where this tang protrudes down, makes for a great finger choil. Probably the most comfortable pocket knives that I've ever used. That's my opinion. Especially this one here fits my hand the best. That's why I like to carry this one a lot, is the Ambonia Burl. It's a little chunky here, and a little thin towards the front, but as you can see, it fits right in my hand, like right where it's supposed to. And what I really like about these Taylor Eyewitness is the clip point. These Barlows, the high profile, and the mirror polish. Of course, mine are a little scratched up now. This one's probably, well, actually, the buffalo horns, it's got the least amount of use, as in no use at all. And you can see just a high polish everywhere. The only reason why I didn't carry this is because I'm clumsy and I drop my knives a lot. Well, I wouldn't say I'm clumsy. It's just that I've had hand issues all my life, where I kind of lose the sensation of feeling in them sometimes, and I end up dropping stuff. And I know that buffalo horn cracks probably is the material that'll crack the easiest, at least with my experience. So there you have 5 Taylor Eyewitness Barlows. And let's take a look at the newest one that's going to go in the black slip. Get the Slick Slicers swag out of the way. The Premier Collection box. This is walnut with the work back, but this is black walnut, which I never even knew existed till I seen a bushcraft show on YouTube where a guy actually chopped down a sapling, a black walnut sapling tree. So I always thought the black walnut was dyed, but this is a natural color, and you'll see it was made the 21st week of 22, which would put it right in the middle for middle of April of this past year. So let's see what we got inside. Of course, you got your Craftsman mission statement. This comes with every premium knife you buy, or premier knife. And you can read it if you want. And you can see it was made entirely by hand by Lee White, and it passed quality control. Caring for your pocket knife. Don't baton it. Although I proved that these Taylor Eyewitness knives are not just a pretty face, they're tough workers too, because like I said, I've put this one through the paces, through the gauntlet, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, the edge never even chipped, which I thought I was going to get some chips in the edges back here, because I was smacking that thing with a brass hammer, cutting cables at work. So, here's what we got. The newest Taylor Eyewitness Barlow in a black walnut. Look at that nice satiny finish. And this camera is not going to do it any justice. The grain on this, really tight grain. It's your worked back. Look at that. Some might think black and silver is boring. I think it's the Cadillac color. Let me clean this up a little bit. I think it's the Cadillac color combination to die for. There's just something about black and a shiny mirror polish that just makes me go crazy. I should get some new microcloths. Look at that. And another thing about these, you could tell they're all handmade by the nail nicks. No two nail nicks are the same either. Let's take a look. So I imagine Lee White puts the nail nicks in, but you could see the Ambonia has a really long, narrow nail nick. This is more short and open. The stag is, there's barely anything there. And this one here is a little bit smaller too. So there's 6 Taylor Eyewitness Barlows there. All gorgeous. And one thing about the Eyewitness Barlows is your pile side is actually like the premier side, I think. I don't know if that's intentional. Knocked one of these over. I don't think it's intentional because on the buffalo horn, you have this little swedge thing here, swoosh, and that's just shiny black. God, that's such a beauty. But as you'll see, as you get down and you look at some of these, you could say that the pile side scale is the more premier scale. And by premier, I mean more attractive. Not that these aren't attractive on this side either, but I think that, and I don't mind that because when I go to work, like this is the only one that I'm not real happy with on the mark side because it's kind of like a cloudy, mucky looking ox horn as compared to this buttery translucent side. But when you're using your knife at work, you usually set it down like that. So that's what you're going to look at while it's on your workbench, and then you pick it up, you do your work on the next one, and so on and so forth. But most of the time you're setting your knife down where the pile side is up. So one day, a couple days, I brought in my desert ironwood to work. I really miss work because I got to use a knife constantly the whole day. So, but anyway, there's 6 Taylor Eyewitness Barlows. Is that enough? That's the question. Is this section of the Warthog collection complete? Well, no. Because there's an equation that Slick Slicer came up with that kind of makes it null and void on how many someone should own. Because how it came about was someone commented on one of his videos, which was probably his 85th Taylor Eyewitness Barlow. And the commenter said, well, how many is enough? And what he came up with was brilliant. Let me see, I wrote it down somewhere. Here. Came up with this equation. With N being the Taylor Eyewitness Barlow, N plus 1 is how many you should have. So I have 6 right now, but I'm going to have to get plus 1. Plus 1 will probably be, where'd that go? This mother of pearl Barlow. Ain't that gorgeous? So, that's pretty much it. No, it's not, because we're going to have a flashing blue light special. The first person that stayed with me all the way for 30 minutes here, that puts N plus 1 in the comment section, wins their choice of a Remington fixed blade or a Remington Stockman. We'll look at these really quick. Remember, put N+1 in. Do it now. Quicker you are, the quicker you win. Here's the fixed blade. Now these are both Remington China, but they're done with Remington quality. And it's the checkered wood handle. And you'll see this beautiful color here. This I kind of think is going to be more for if whoever wins is from stateside. Because I don't know, I'll still ship this international if someone thinks that it'll make it. But yeah, you have your choice of that, or this cool little Stockman. It's also Remington China. Don't you love the blue light special? We had this store when I was growing up called, first it was Kresge's. Then they changed